This isn't me telling you how to practice. This is me giving you suggestions and a start point. Where you take it is completely up to you.
All right. You ready? We gotta help all the people. Hey everybody. Normal Wiccan here. We're gonna just here with my new buddy, or the newest member of our family, Louie. Um, we're gonna change things up a little bit. Normally I sit up here and I give you a class on X, Y, Z. What we're gonna actually do today instead is we are going to have a conversation. Um, One of the things that I get asked all the time, being a priest, having run a coven, things like that, is how do I meet other pagans? What do you think about finding a coven? How do I find a coven? Things like that. So we're going to go ahead and discuss that today instead of me just sitting up here teaching. Okay, so a couple of things. First and foremost is that if your thought process in your head is, I'm going to start a coven. Stop. 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 If you are a new Wiccan, or you're a Wiccan that's been studying a couple of years out of books and internet and stuff like that, and alright, and you've never been part of a group, a formal group or a coven or anything like that, let me give you a little bit of information. First off, everybody's thought process when they go to join a coven is, I'm going to find a group of like-minded people that practice like I do, get together and learn with, celebrate the Sabbaths or holidays, however you want to put it, without any type of judgment or anything along those lines. That is all a noble endeavor. But let me kill a couple of pre-expectations of yours. Number one, you're never going to find a group of like-minded people. Everybody practices differently, they believe differently, so on and so forth. Generally, learning is fine. But understand, even in a Wiccan group, different people believe different things. And that is just a matter of fact. And so, what you have to understand that, yes, you may be learning about Wicca and stuff like that. It might not be what you practice. It might not be part of your beliefs. It's always good to know about other forms of Wicca, other beliefs within Wicca, but if you're laser focused on, this is what I believe, this is what I want to learn, you're probably not going to find that. Not being judged. Guys, it's human nature. You will always have that group of eye rollers. I guess that's the nicest way I can put it. And when I say that, you are going to have those people that, when you have that very innocent or naive, or however you want to put it, person come in and, oh, Wicca, you have to be a good Wiccan, you have to be a vegetarian, and you can't wear leather, and all of these things. And you're going to have others that are, especially if they're older, that are just going to roll their eyes. Again, because it's going to be, you practice your way, I'm going to practice mine, and be happy. So let me give you some advice here on this. First off, if you have never been part of a formal group, let alone a coven, a formal group, don't fly into it going, I'm gonna start this. Don't. Is social networking. You can use YouTube, Facebook, uh, Twitter, Twitch, all of the networks out there to find pagans in your area, and you can. And more times than not, you're going to find a grove, or some type of public study group, or something like that. If you're like, hey, I want to get together with other pagans and just start a grove, that's something else. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now we're talking about a coven with a priest and a priestess and all the things. Okay. If you don't have the experience being a priest or a priestess, or even the experience in a formal group, then look to join something already existing. Okay. I spent a good deal of time looking at. I when I was in the army, I joined. I went to public events, pagan events, and ended up speaking to and joining a coven. It wasn't bad. I mean, it was a Gardenian coven. If you know anything about Gardenian, they're very structured, putting it mildly and saying the least. And this was no different. But I mean, again, I was in the army, so structure didn't really bother me. And I went through the ranks and studied and learned. And then I got out of the army and came back to my home state and spent my time helping and examining newly forming groups of pagans. I was with 4 or 5. I can't remember exactly how many, but most of them didn't go well. Several of them the priest and or priestess wanted to be they wanted to be priest or priestess for the wrong reasons. Power trip, the this, that, and the other, without realizing to be a priest or a priestess is a lot of responsibility, a lot of heartache. You end up spending a lot of your own money. There are, other than teaching pagans, there is very little downside to being in charge of a coven. You print stuff out. You're paying for ink. You're paying for paper. Generally, you're paying for cakes and ale. You're helping deal with the different conflicts in the group, and there will be. It's a matter of fact. There will be conflicts in the group. You have to deal with it in a impartial and understanding way. This all sounds easy. It's not. I can honestly say I did not look to form Wolves Den when it happened. I had... Basically, I went to one of these groups and helped out a little bit and taught them the first couple of lessons. And eventually, the person that was going to be the priest and the person that was going to be priestess just weren't listening. And the things that they were teaching I didn't necessarily agree with and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go. I wish you well. I hope you all the best. But not really something for me. And 3 of the people that were looking at the group at the same time, apparently they got together as a group and had a conversation, and they showed up at my house a couple of days later because because I called them to let them know that since we had started looking at this group at the same time, again, wish you well, hope for the best, but I'm not going to stay with this group. And they ended up showing up at my house, and they're like, so we decided we found a new coven. And I'm like, that's great. And they're like, yeah, and you're running it. And I'm like, what? And they're like, well, we're going with you. I'm like, okay, but I'm not going anywhere. You know, I left this group. I don't have anywhere to go. I just left this group. And they're like, right, but we want all of us to start a coven, and we want you to teach us. And that's how Wolves Den started out. My first statement to them was, if that's what you want, we can do that. Most covens don't last more than 6 months. But I will do my best to teach you as best as I can. Unbeknownst to me, Wolves Den lasted like 7, 8 years, something like that. And it was good while it lasted. Were there conflicts? Yes, there were. Was there drama? Yes, there was. Did I spend a ton of my own money? Yes, I did. And, in retrospect, now that everything is removed, was it worth the time and energy that I spent on it? Yes, it was. Simply because I got the opportunity to teach people and help them, guide them. So yes, it was worth it. Was it just, at times, did I want to rip my own hair out? Yes, I did. If you are interested in some literature on covens and the way they work, there's a very good book, I believe it's by DJ Conway, called Covencraft. I could be wrong on that author, but I'm pretty sure that's who wrote it. That gives you that really breaks stuff down for you. It talks about the archetype of personalities, how to deal with them at times, stuff like that. I did refer to that book when I was dealing with Wolves Den, and I was just absolutely mystified by things. I just did. Now, let me explain a couple things. One, that was my take on a coven. Now, mind you, if you come across an established coven, you spend time with them. If you come across an established coven, you spend some time with them, you get along well, they want you to they want you to join the coven, or, you start training as an initiate, and everything's copacetic, then by all means go for it. I would definitely say it's a experience that every pagan should have once in their life. Be cautious, though. Again, the flip side of this is some priests, some priestesses are in that position, and they may not have your best interest at heart. They take advantage of the position. They take advantage of the supposed power that comes along with that, and can abuse it. So be cautious. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, and but I wish you the best. To cover a couple of things, though. So that is a coven. A coven basically is a close-knit group of pagans practicing together. Generally, there's a priestess. Well, almost always there's a priestess, and generally there's a priest. And you meet once a month, once a week, what have you, and it's kind of structured. Now, there is a thing called the Teaching Coven, which basically my videos, that's what I do. I sit up here and I give you lessons, and that's, other than doing the Sabbats, what a Teaching Coven is. Sometimes if you've got more experienced pagans, someone will pick a topic, and that week, or that coven meeting, it's their time to teach about that topic. Um, Whereas you have a working coven, which is different, because a working coven is a group of experienced practitioners. You don't teach during coven. You may have someone that you're teaching, but what you're basically doing is you're getting together, you're casting, you're performing your rituals, you're doing your spells, and that's generally what a working coven is. I'll be honest, both of my covens were basically teaching covens. I mean, Wolves Den definitely was. Every week we'd meet and we get together and have lessons, stuff like that. Now, understand, the point of a teaching coven is for people to leave. And that's important to understand that. Because eventually, you're not going to have stuff to teach anymore. You as a teacher, as a mentor, and understand, I was the person, hey, if you want to know about something, let me know. I'll do the studying. I'll put together a class for it, so on and so forth. But eventually, they don't really need to be taught that much anymore. Someone may go on to a working coven, or someone may just live out their life with the information you gave them, and that's fine. That's the point of a teaching coven, is eventually they don't need you anymore. If you are the priest, you're the priestess, you're the teacher, eventually they don't need you anymore. It's kind of like being a high school teacher. Eventually they graduate and move on with their life. And that's good. That's the way things are supposed to work. Now, so you got your teaching coven, you've got your working coven. Another thing is a grove. Grove is a lot less formal, a lot less structured. It's just a group of pagans getting together. For whatever reason, whether it's to practice, whether it's to learn and study and have classes, whether it's to, celebrate the Sabbats, whether it's just to hang out and compare notes. A circle is very loose, informal, and oftentimes for new pagans that are not adept at the society, the pagan society, or being around a bunch of pagans, that's the best way to do it. It's more freeform, a lot less strict, and a different way of doing things, which a lot of times is good starting out. A grove, I'll be honest, you get 3-4 pagans together, and it's like, hey, let's celebrate Samhain together. By the most rudimentary form, if you do it more than once, you basically have your own grove. It's just a group of pagans meeting, and it's a wonderful concept. You're gonna find people you like, find people you don't like, stuff like that. But unlike a coven, which is a very close-knit circle of people, and that's one of the reasons that a coven traditionally is only supposed to be 13 at most, because they are very close-knit, and if you call someone in your coven, I need help, that's what's going to happen. A grove is, hey Frank, what's up? Hey Diamond, hey Sammy, what's up? And that's pretty much the extent of it. It's just, I hang out with some friends, and that's primarily the way it works. So again, if you are that Wiccan who, like I said, whether you've been studying for a couple of years or you're new to this, and I can't find anyone, and I'm gonna start my own coven. Don't stop. There are other ways to go about it, and I recommend all of them, other than as an inexperienced Wiccan starting your own coven. Again, guys, if you're looking for pagans, unfortunately, some of the old ways of finding other pagans are no longer a thing. Like Witchvox or Witch's Voice, the website is no longer a thing. However, if you go on YouTube and you type in, search under groups for your region, whatever that may be, your state or, the area of your state. I mean, I personally helped create the Northwest Indiana Pagan Association. Or no, that's NIPA. I'm trying to remember. It's a Facebook group for people from Northwest Indiana. I think we've got like 400 people at this point, just from that region. And I mean, you're talking about like the Bible Belt. I mean, northern Indiana. And there's like 400 people in that. There's Chicago Wiccans, Pagans, Michigan. I mean, you pick an area, look it up. I can almost guarantee you're going to find people in your area that you can, and they may already be meeting. My region has a, they call it a munch or something along those lines. It's basically where, like, once a month, everybody gets together and has coffee together. And it's a great idea. You get together. Hey, what are you doing for Samhain? Oh, I'm taking my kids out trick-or-treating, blah, 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 blah. What are you doing? Well, I don't have kids, so I'm just doing my ceremony and drinking entirely too much that night. That was an authentic conversation that I heard. It's a great way to meet people, and maybe eventually, you will find people that are like-minded and start a grove, or find a pre-existing coven in your area, or hopefully a grove, or just friends that are of the Wiccan pagans persuasion, that you can learn with and bounce ideas off of and what have you. I mean, I'll be honest, if anyone has any questions, you can always comment in the things. Hey, how do you do that? If you were going to do this type of spell, what would you do? All of those types of things. I mean, if there was, I don't know that there is, but if there was a need for it, I could go on Twitch and start a pagan hour or Wiccan hour and talk to everybody live. But there are so many resources at this point. There are classes, workshops, groves, public groups. I mean, me and my wife Kim went down to Florida, went to the local New Age shop, and bam, there's, we've got a coven, we've got an open group, we hold, all of the Sabbats for the public, to be at in a little town in Florida, that's primarily considered a retirement area. So, and that's another thing too, pagan shops, New Age shops are a really great source of networking as well. So don't discount that. Again, be cautious. You don't want to get into a situation that you're uncomfortable with or anything like that. But definitely use your resources. Get some experience. Meet some people. Become members of some groups. Then down the line, okay, you still want to become a priest or priestess. that's a different story. But, you know, again, this is primarily for those people who I've been studying for a couple of years and I'm going to start a coven. Because, one, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. I can promise that. You have no idea the amount of stress, the amount of work that is involved in it. And two, I'd really, really hate for anyone that watches any of my videos to be that person that, you know, people are like, oh yeah, they tried to start a coven, that didn't go so well, type deal. But if any of the information I've given you is helpful, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, and once again, be happy, be safe, normal Wiccan, and I'm gonna go play with my puppy.